So this is what we will be taking a look at. So this is the final output on for render. So within the particle system, we will be creating a liquid. So for a liquid, we will be going into the create option and checking the water on. So we know if we are creating something like a smoke or stuff, I will be using cloud or a thick cloud. If I want to create particles with collisions and all, I'll be using point or the balls. For water, I'll be using water. Okay. So this option should be checked on before we start creating any kind of liquid, because we won't be able to revert back to the water once we create our emitter. So first, before creating an emitter, see that the water check now. All right. So now let's create emitter. So I'll go to create emitter. Change this to default and let's create an emitter. So by default we have a omni type emitter. I'll change this to volume so that I can start emitting particles as in volume. And I'll be changing the volume shape to a cylinder. Okay. Now I want the particle to kind of move down in one direction from the top to bottom. Okay, so if I play this around, you see the particles are not coming, not going down as in streamline fashion. They are like being emitted in a horizontal fashion from all sides and then moving down. Okay, so within volume settings, I'll be taking away from axis to 0. Okay, so that there is particles which in fact just not, it doesn't move within the horizontal space of the cylinder. Okay, and I will be increasing the along axis wherein which it will now move up and then kind of probably come down because of the gravity. Okay, so I want the emitter to be rotated. So I'll rotate it because I want the liquid to move down. Okay, and this will be more of a viscous liquid. I'm looking at creating a viscous liquid, something which will be very close to honey or something like that. Okay, which will kind of be very viscous and will be very slow in nature. Okay, so as it comes down, it won't be so fast. Okay. The first thing I'll be doing is changing number of particles to around about, let's say, 300. Okay. That is a good enough number. And the next thing what I'll be doing, I don't want any directions, so let's make it 0, all of it. And I want this to, like, now I have some drag, or should look like as if it is slowing down. So within the dynamic properties, I do have drag as well as damp, and if I move down in the liquid simulation, enable liquid simulation is on. I could even use something called as viscosity. Okay, but then I'll just start by using the drag value. Now the drag, all these values here are very sensitive. We can't just put in a value of 1 to 3. Okay, can start slowly. That is, for now I'll just be increasing this to 0.0330, sorry, 0.030. Okay. All right, so this will, like, if you take a look, it will slow down the particles a bit. All right, so that's what I want. And maybe you can just try working around with this value. Okay, let's say if I make it 1, uh, doesn't make a lot of uh, change, but if I reduce the liquid scale, you might see there's a bit of a difference, but I'll try to keep this to the default. Okay, viscosity, I might want this to be 0.5, not much. Okay, all right, so taking a look at the liquid now, it seems to be flowing correctly. I also want it to collide with maybe some object. Okay. Now this can be, the collision object can be any object, doesn't matter. I'll use a cylinder for now, but maybe you can have this liquid, like if it is a honey, uh, it might pour on a spoon or something. So here I can go to the polygonal, go to cylinder, and I want this to be maybe the cylinder will be rotated like this, and let's increase the subdivision height as well as a bit of a radius. Let's move it a bit up, something around here. That's good. Yeah. Now I want this to collide. I'll initially do edit, delete by type history, just modify a few transformations on these, this, and then I want the particles to collide with the geometry. Select the geometry, go to enclose, create a passive collider, and just need to see whether it collides. Good, nice. It is having a good collision. I want this to be around 200 frames, right? So, oh, nice. I want the liquid to be much more viscous. I want this to be very sticky and should kind of curl around the some extent curl around the cylinder. Okay, so I will be catching hold of the cylinder, moving into its attribute, that is hold on, let me check one second. Collider. It's yes, it's collide. So I'll just work with one attribute which is called as stickiness. So stickiness is, oh, I want it to be much more. It should have a bit of a friction between the geometry. So I'm basically increasing the stickiness between the because I've selected the particles. So the stickiness between the uh, corresponding particles or the adjoint particle has been increased to 0.3. Okay. I will also need to go to the end rigid shape, and I will also have a stickiness on it increased, okay, to 0.3. So there are two different stickiness. So one which is basically on the geometry or on the collision object, and there is one which is on the in the particle itself. The collision, the stickiness in between the uh, adjoining particles. So that way. So I've increased both, and there is nice. If you can see there, the particle is much more. Uh, uh, there's much better collisions happening here. They're not just sliding down. There's a bit of a particles which are getting collected over here, okay, because there is a bit friction. There's very thin, well less particle moves down. Okay, so the yeah, nice. Okay. Um, All I can do now is maybe try increasing the particle number a bit because, yeah, one more thing is before we move on to increasing the particle number, I want the particles to nicely maybe stick to the surface and then curl around and then hold on, something like that. And then increase it and use something called as Newton. And for the Newton, I'll be using the volume cube, okay, scaling it a bit like this, scaling this like this. So only the particles within that volume mm, will get attracted at the center, basically. So the Newton is going to pull the particles the center. Now nothing will happen immediately as such due to basically the attenuations. Okay, so attenuation, I'll change this to 0 and maybe increase the magnitude to around 10. Okay. As soon as the particle, yeah, so I'll just pull this a bit up, a bit, this section. Hmm, nice. Maybe a bit more, so I'll just increase the magnitude to around 15. Direction is 0. Yeah, so it's nicely curling down. 20 will be nicer. See, that's a little too much, I believe. So that's 15 is a good value. I will also want to just increase the stickiness a bit more on the surface over here. Maybe let's try a value of 1. It kind of is nicely, yeah. I'll also try the same on the particle itself. So viscosity, stickiness actually over. Hold on, I'll just increase it from the, okay, maybe 1 on the particles too. Okay, so I think this is, we are good to go maybe. Okay, now I will want to create a surface on these particles. Okay, as it holds now. Oh, before that, one more thing is I will try to increase the number of the particles. So I'll go to the emitter, maybe increase this a tag. Let me put a value of 400. Now I don't want this simulation to go wild. Or looks good. And so I think 500 is a pretty much good value. Just in fact try to go a bit higher too. Much nice. Okay, so I think I'm happy with this, and let's try to create the surface around it. Now, to create a surface around the particles is pretty easy. I'll just save the C line. save it as viscous. Good. Right. And then let me put the surface around this. So go to edit. Sorry, not edit. Go to the modify and change and convert it to from Nparticles to polygons. Okay, that is where the conversion will take place. So to create a surface uh, around the particles to create a which will be in itself a geometry. So I'll just click on. As soon as we do that, the particles are gone. Okay. The reason is if I now move into the n particle shape, just close off all the rollouts. There is a rollout which is called as output shape, where I need to work with something as threshold. And I'm going to reduce the value of threshold here so. And as I do so, you can see there is a mesh which is getting generated around the particles, right? So now adjust the blobby scale, maybe just a little bit of motion trail. And then maybe I can increase the mesh triangles over here. That way there is so I get this kind of a behavior. Good enough. I kind of liked it. Maybe quite happy with this. Okay, so let's just imagine that this is what we want. We might still work with these numbers. Okay, we'll get the result what we want. But for now, let's imagine this is what we are looking at. Okay, and let's do a quick render also for this. So because I'll be using on all rendering, I'll be creating on all lights very quick. So I'll be creating an area light, pointing towards this object, taking one more from a different direction. Okay, and probably one more from behind. So that pointing towards the enough. Wait, so yeah, just try to put one. Um, yeah, very quickly, what I'll do is also give some shaders to this rendering editor, hyper shade, use AIS render shader for the liquid. I'll be creating one more for the object collision object. So let this be metal or something like that. Assign this, maybe assigning this to this one. and then I will be choosing the preset directly from the preset over here. So maybe this will be the the oh did I all right, so I'll just select the metal from over here and then change this to maybe something like a brush metal, right? So save the file again and then let's have a look at the quick render. I will be doing a quick render settings over here. So this viscous. Wait, okay, JPEG. Put the camera down over here. Create camera. The save view. Create camera from the view. So that will be my .com. .com. I'll just put in my frame range. Put my resolution gate over here, and then of course specify the resolution gate from here. Change this to like say a little lesser than 540 maybe. Okay, let's say 540 guys. Right here. That's I want it to be like this. Okay, so render view, let's kick in the render here. So if I'll also lightning render it. So initially I won't see anything. The reason is need to increase the exposure of it. Put these lights and it's this to put in. And just try to create a plane, polygonal plane. This Get the plane, scale it. Just below the probably this is my camera. I'll select the camera and lock it. just lock the translates and rotates. I'll just uh, box selected. Lock the camera. Okay. Yeah. So let me play this a bit. Want the liquid to be a bit transparent. Uh, let's say if it is a honey, I want this to be a bit transparent. So we go to Windows, Render Editor, read. So, so within the transmission, I'll be changing the color, I believe, to okay, hold on. I'll create save the preset for this so and edit it on it. So I'll just edit preset or save AI preset as in my customized one. So I can always, if not, I can always switch later back to what I want. So that should be preset. Now this will get saved basically here. So whenever I want to maybe switch back to the older one, I can. Okay, so I'm going to just do my edits on this. So I'll replace it. I'll work on the edits on this. Try this. Let me try this cat one. So yeah, this is what I want. I want it to be a little transparent, something like this. One spelling wrong. I will also do one more thing. Maybe just select this. Well, that will be a little difficult now if I want to make collisions because we're already created a mesh, and if I want to do any changes I won't be able to because the mesh has already been generated. So that is a bit of a drawback. So but yes, we can always save our file, switch back and do those changes. See, save the file and screen. I just made it a bit smoother by hitting 3 so that I just check this now. We'll just have a bit of a smoother mesh. Yeah, so before we render this, I will want this to be cached. So I will move to the cache and sorry, not in the cache menu. I'll be moving into the N cache. In fact, create a new cache and cache this to this place. Okay, let's say around. I'll just check this for how many frames I will need to. I believe it 100 frames will be good enough. So once let me just check it in the render. Just a bit, just move the lane a bit down. Around 100 frames will be good. Render from the hmm. All right, yeah. So, reference. Okay, I'll just do a very quick cache. Create and cache, create cache, start and end. Slider create. All right. So let's put this on the render and just do a quick render of this. So before that, I'll just move to the settings. I've already given it a name. I'll be rendering a simple JPEG for now. This will be name.number.extension. So I'll get Viscous liquid with the padding of 4, which is not required. Padding of 3 is okay. From 0 to 1, from 1 to 100 is good. Short cam is a camera. 220, 540. Let's do maybe a bit higher resolution. Think let's keep it to this. It will be much quicker. So, right, so let's close this. Save the file. Move to the rendering. Render sequence. Let's give it a location. Let's put it into the desktop. Let's keep it to home. Yeah, select the folder, made a sequence. Alright guys, so now that we have put this on the render, I'll just meet you once the render is. Okay, thank you. Check. So the sampling resolution for this particular render is too less. In fact, I have not adjusted it. It's the same as what is default. So probably will be that's the reason you see a lot of pixelation as well as uh, there's a lot of jitters which are going around in the fluid itself. Um, but then you can see over here. But then if this been correctly, uh, if the settings have been there, sampling resolutions have been, if they are increased, the resolution will the render will be of a correct output over here. So it will remove a lot of artifacts and the jitters and the these samplings which are not which are very blurred over here.